This is Remote Daily, your daily dose of inspiration. This is Remote Daily, an oasis of innovation for your mind, your soul, and your heart. Connect, act, recharge with the Remote Daily. This is Remote Daily. Yeah. We are so happy to be here. And with that, we pass the baton to our dear host, Felix Zeltner.
Remote Daily Season 4. This was The Gong. And here we are on stage with Jade Alexis and Keris Timol. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. I'm going to say this again. And please go off mute because we're going to talk.
Thanks, Felix.
Let's start with the two of you a little earlier than 2021. Liz has actually something in store here for us. And Liz, if I may ask you to fire up the screen share for us. And let's travel time for a moment. What did you bring us here? Who wants to weigh in?
So that's we should have everyone guess who's who, but that's me holding Keris. I'm 5 years older than Keris. So this picture is taken in England, and I don't remember the day, but it's actually one of my favorite pictures of the two of us from our younger days.
Mine too. It's a good one.
Can you share a moment from this time? Maybe how did your life look like back then as sisters?
Well, we lived in England at the time, and Keris, you were born. Where were you born, Keris?
I was born in England.
I know that silly goose. Which house were you?
Yes, I was. No, Springfield Ave.
Springfield Avenue. So it was like a nice little quaint town in England. And we had my older sister Rebecca, myself, and then Keris came into the mix. And simple English life, milkman delivered the milk, literally dropped the milk on the doorstep. And actually, funny story, when we moved to our new house, Keris snuck out of the house and went to the neighbor's house and took everyone's milk bottles and brought them to our house. So everyone woke up in the morning and everyone's milk is gone, and all the milk's in our house.
That's so funny you remember that.
That was back in the day when there was a milkman.
Maybe that's why I don't like milk now.
Traumatic experience.
Yeah.
My younger daughter, Lily, would be a huge fan of yours because she's basically drinking a gallon a day. I don't know how she does it, but we could definitely need some neighbors' milk bottles around. So thank you for, taking care of the family early on and collecting some goods from neighbors. And no wonder that you moved away. What then let you both come to this practice? Because as far as I know, and I ask you again to take us to this moment, you both learned how to teach yoga and mindfulness together simultaneously at the same time. How did that work out? We're now, of course, taking a jump of a few years in time.
Keris, I'll let you answer that, but before you do, I think we should focus on the word simultaneously. So that's a special word for us, Felix. Our meditation teacher uses the word simultaneously all the time, and it's simultaneously, notice the breath in the nostrils and at the belly. So we hear simultaneously. I know we both giggled inside, but go ahead, Keris.
Yeah, that is so true. And I use it a lot too in my meditations. Gosh, this was such a very crazy time in both of our lives. My daughter was just born, Jade had her daughter, and my mother flew in from Canada to come watch the children as Jade and I at 5 o'clock in the morning got up, made sure we pumped, had milk ready for the babies, jumped on the train, rushing into the city to make it on time for meditation. Wow. And I know Jade might want to speak a little bit more on this because this was kind of a really like eye-opening point in Jade's life where she kind of evolved a lot from this. If you want to share that, Jade.
So the actual pictures from the graduation from a 100-hour meditation training course that Keris just said we took together. And it was a time in my life where I was going through a lot. That's when I realized I was in a toxic relationship. That's Yogi Charu, our meditation guide. And going through the meditation training was very eye-opening, and just being in the practice every day for that length of time and doing the homework, it just helps the mind think and see with clarity. You don't even know that it's happening. It just sort of happens. And there were some big decisions and changes I needed to make in my life, and it sort of enabled me to make them. And it was great doing the training with Keris. The two of us being able to do something like that together was really a nice experience. And even before we got to the point of doing this training, we used to go as students to Yogi Charu's class right after my sister, actually, Rebecca, passed away. And that's when our real meditation journey started, because we needed it. We needed something to bring more light and positivity into our lives. So we were first students before we became teachers.
It's so true. I want to say something about that. So there's two types of meditations. Well, so many types, but there's Yoga Nidra, a lying down meditation, or what we do is a seated meditation. So during these meditation classes, Jay would always go and ask the yoga instructor and Yoga Charu, are we going to be lying down or seated? And if he said seated, she'd walk out the room because she wasn't ready for that. She always wanted to do the lying down one because it was like a nap. So it's actually amazing to see how your practice now has evolved too. And now you'll join me for the seated ones.
So is that, just to understand, you were opposed to the seating because of you just wanted to relax basically and just lie down, and but why were you so adamant about not sitting down?
Well, because it's hard to sit still. It's hard to physically sit still. It's hard to make the mind be still. And I found it so challenging that, at least when you lie down on your back, it's easier because your body naturally relaxes. But I wasn't sleeping at that time. Because of the past of my sister, I was not sleeping. So to me, if we get to lie down in a dark room with the teacher's voice, I would fall asleep. So that's the only reason I would go, was to take a nap. I wasn't going for meditation.
And you know, when you're going through those kind of things in your life, the stress or whatever, or dealing with grief, all that tends to manifest in your body. So you might have aches and pains in your body. So it's actually hard to sit and stay seated. So I don't know if that was.
Wow, this is so powerful. And of course, you're talking about this lightly today, but the time you went through and the efforts you took to make that happen, to actually be in that room, were so tremendous. And we are all benefiting of the fact that you did that. When you look at the moment in time that we are in now, what do you see your students or your clients face? Because you have huge antennas for personal challenges, for journeys people take and go through, for pain that is happening. What do you see happening right now? And maybe, it also is reflected in the community share that we just had a minute ago. What are the challenges that you see in the people that you spend time with, meditating, doing yoga and fitness at the moment?
Go ahead, Keris.
So one thing I see a lot coming up now, and especially with everyone, people with moms with kids, especially going back to school, is really that kind of stress of what's going on in the world right now, and are they okay with their kids going to school, or and it's kind of manifesting back to them. So how do they deal with that stress of everything else that's going on in the world and allowing them to maintain peace? I don't know if you want to go ahead. You could.
And to piggyback on top of that, maintaining the peace, and also just finding balance. There is so many things to do and so many places to be. And how do we balance doing all those things and taking care of ourselves and those around us? So I think that's sort of a common thread. And I just want to add this because it popped into my mind when you asked the question. When students walk into a room, and I'm sure, Keris, you experience the same thing, a true tell sign that someone's sort of going through stuff is their breath, right? You ask the class to take a deep breath, and some people just take it with ease. They can take a deep breath. And some people, it's almost like they don't know how to take a deep breath. And it's those people, you can see their body is tight. And once you speak to them, they're going through stuff and they're stressed and they're tense. And that's why everything just starts with the breath. And you can see and learn so much from just watching someone else's breath.
Do you know what's really amazing, Jade? This came up to my attention recently, that somebody had a hard time in meditation focusing on their breath. Because, maybe that was like a trigger, or that was stressful for them to actually learn how to calm their breath. And so they wanted another way to meditate instead of having to think about the breath, which there are ways to do that as well. But that's how powerful our breath is.
Wow. I just heard in a yoga class once, yoga is just finding interesting ways to breathe. And I always think back to that, because when I do these poses that I can barely hold on to, and then start really focusing on my breath, I realize what different parts of the body are starting to breathe with me, and how emotional that can become within seconds. And I find it so interesting that you can basically read a room by seeing people breathe. I never knew. Thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for reminding us that it all starts with our breath. And we're so lucky, I think, that we will breathe more with you in just a minute. Before that, though, you both have become influencers in this space, and you're very successful. You're also overwhelmed, just as Yvonne put it earlier, or Lisa. You have children at home, you have your own businesses, you are, in Keris's case, you were just moving physically, your location changed, your state changed. So all the things we saw coming up in the chat, they all apply to you in some way or another. But still, you're out there, and there's even something that I think we can share. Jade, you have just been hired for a commercial. What is going on in the world? And please tell us more about this and what you do. And of course, we'll have a look together. But before, what is the commercial that you, or the company that you're going to collaborate with?
So it was such a random and cool thing that sort of fell on my lap. And I don't believe that things just fall in your lap. I think we manifest everything around us that lands on our laps, and then we can accept it or reject it. So this commercial is with Quest. I'm sure many of you know the company Quest. They make protein bars, protein cookies. So they reached out to me, and they wanted me to be one of their athletes. They're doing a campaign with, there's an NBA player, a WNBA player, a couple of NFL players. So they looked at me as, I'm a professional yoga instructor, and that is just like a professional athlete. And they liked my story. They liked how I reinvented, how I recreated myself. They loved my passion and sort of the purpose behind all that I do. So I flew out to LA. I shot a TV commercial. Some of you may have seen it. If not, you might see it, because it's pretty widely distributed on. I heard it, someone reached out like, oh my gosh, you made the US Open. So the commercial's airing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on ESPN. Yeah, go on.
I think we're going to air it on Remote Daily now.
Yeah, breaking news.
Liz, if you have the commercial that Jade is in, I have never seen it. It's a premiere for me as well. Please, let's take a look together. Well, premiere, US Open. You just have to come to Remote Daily. And while Liz is firing up the screen share, make sure that your volumes are up and that your mics are up. Here we go.
I've always had a big appetite for the next adventure in life. But this one, not exactly small, but still has that big Quest nutrition. I left the business world for a different path. It's all about balance. I became a rookie yoga instructor. That's my passion. And these cookies? Who said you can't have more than one passion?
Applause. If you want to go off mute and applaud loudly, please do. Jade Alexis.
Yay! Awesome.
what I'm most jealous of is that I assume that you have a lifelong free cookie supply from Quest. Is that true?
I have a lot of cookies and bars at my house. Yeah.
All right. Next remote daily community meetup, I know where it is. Let's all go over to Jersey and eat our way through Jade's apartment together in the quest for Quest. So this beautiful, huge cookie, was that real, or how did you make that?
So it's a real cookie. So
it was a real cookie?
I walked on set and it was a surprise for me. I walked on and this like gigantic cookies on set, and everyone's just staring at me, all lights and camera on, to see my first reaction to the cookie. And they're like, "Do you think you could pick that thing up?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I picked it up and like lifted it over my head. So it wasn't a real cookie. Obviously, it's not edible, but yeah, it was a real prop.
It looked very real. Well, I congratulate you, and we will see you all over the place eating cookies now. A new feat. Once you know Jade, she's not only on the apps and on Remote Daily, where we had many guests, by the way, join us and say, "Oh my God, it's you! You're real!" Because they have been going to sleep with Jade on Spotify or Aptiv so many times. You're helping so many people, and you're also now launching a program together, Jade and Keris, which is the final thing I would like to ask you about, because this is something that goes back to the story we have heard before of you becoming teachers together, of you growing up together, of you now being connected every day. You talk every day. You as siblings are incredibly close. We had the honor to have you, all the three of you, on Remote Daily a couple of months ago. So what are you launching together in order to help people manage the fall and manage the many challenges that are in our lives at the moment?
So we've put together a course. It's a 3-day sort of self-study course called Mindset Magic. And basically it's designed for people who are new to a meditation practice or already have a practice and want to evolve their practice and strengthen it. So it's self-study. So you go online and there are some readings and some meditations for you to practice on a daily basis. And we just created it because it's something that we obviously believe in. We know how much it's helped us, and we see it helping the people around us. And we would like for everyone to expand and explore their practice in a deeper way. And it's also put together in a very simple and easy to follow way. And I think that's what sometimes scares people from meditation, is it's too difficult, or it's not for me, or I can't sit still, I can't focus my mind. And all those things, yeah, they might be true, but there's a way to solve all those problems and find peace. So we just made it simple.
Awesome. And there's a special member discount for everybody here. So if you're part of the Remote Daily community, Liz just put in the chat. Thank you, Liz. You can be part of this course and just reach out to Jade and Keris at Remote Daily to be able to take part and find and strengthen your inner self for what's coming. Now, final question. What are the biggest challenges you are personally working on right now? What is something, when you think about the fall, that you're like, wow, this is my big Everest that I have to climb? And of course, please tell us how you actually do it. What helps you yourself as a teacher, as a professional in the space, to manage the challenges in your own life?
So I'll go first, Keris, but then you got a chance. So it's really funny you asked that question, please, because just this morning I called Keris and I'm on my way to the train into the city. And I said, she's trying to rush me off the phone, by the way, while I was talking to her, because she had stuff to do before she goes live.
Let's say.
I said to her, I was like, I just realized I'm not stressed, but I just have this energy in me and I don't like it. And I think it's all around fear of losing things. And she's like, what are you talking about? What are you going to lose? I'm like, I'm just afraid of losing my finances. I'm comfortable right now, and I keep thinking I'm going to lose this gig or that gig. And it's almost like, instead of just enjoying everything, I'm afraid of it. And I said, and also with Amma, my daughter, with her dad, he's a difficult person for me to deal with and co-parent with, or parallel parent, as we have to call it. And I'm afraid of losing Amma, like, because he wants to pursue some custody battle to show that I'm a horrible parent. And I have this fear of him succeeding and then losing Amma. And Keris is trying to, let me know that those are not things I need to be afraid of. And I know that, but even though I know that, it's still something that troubles my mind and takes up space and takes energy. And I said to Keris, what's funny is I love my home. I have a beautiful home. I'm not afraid of losing my house, but I'm afraid of losing all these other things. And Keris says, well, it's because you're not attached to material things. Those things can come and go. It's more like the other things and the other energies around you that you're dealing with. So your question was, how do I deal with that? How do I take that energy that's almost like suffocating me at times and bringing me down and slowing me down? And I walked into this yoga room today, took some deep breaths, and I started to teach my class. And just by teaching the class, I'm taking the yoga. And all of those thoughts and fears and feelings, they went away. And instantly I felt lighter. And I was lifting other people up. I was making other people feel better. And I was reminding myself of what really matters. And that's how we feel inside. And even while I was teaching the class, I thought to myself, if I were to lose all of those things, if I can still come here or still show up somewhere and teach the yoga and make people feel better and feel this much better inside, all those things, they're okay, they'll work themselves out. So
wow. Thank you, Jade. And the next time, just the noise, the next time I think any one of us takes a class, we can always think of that this might be as important for the teacher to be in right now than it is for the student, and it helps both in different ways. And thank you for so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you being so open about this, and it's something that as a student, sometimes taking classes, I'm way too selfish to think about, because I come in there with my own pains and my own stresses, and I just want relief, and it's very powerful to know that this accounts for both ends. Keris, what Everest are you climbing, and how do you manage to at the moment?
Well, we'll say one way that I manage is having these conversations with Jade. Like, we talk 1,000 times a day and go back and forth with each other. And it really, really helps, especially because we can hold each other accountable. And I'll tell Jade and she'll tell me when my stuff is not right or whatnot. But one big thing I've been dealing with lately is boundaries. I spend so much time giving back to my kids, my family, and my clients and my work that I've noticed these last few weeks that my stuff for myself has kind of dropped off, and I notice a difference in my life. So when I'm not getting up early in the morning, doing my yoga, meditation, having that space for myself to find that peace and clarity so that I can be the person that I want to be and the person that I am authentically, I notice a difference, and I'm just don't feel as great. So I give so much back that sometimes I have to remember, Keris, you need to take care of yourself and do those things so that you have more to give in the best way possible. So yeah, I might've been rushing Jade off the phone today, but I had to set my boundary there. And it's the same, spending time with my husband comes home late from work sometimes, and I'm thinking that's usually my yin yoga time when I calm down and slow down before bed, and I've been going to bed late because I want to spend that time with him too. So I need to find that balance again. So it's a big thing of balance and boundaries. And, I teach this too. And so I know it. I just need to live it more and get back to it, because, we're all human. We fall out of it sometimes. And it's just a matter of getting back into it and being aware of when that happens. So I'm glad you brought that question up, because it's also another reminder for me.
I feel you, Keris. Say E&D in the chat, and Anne says, I love the relationship and the love you have for each other, Jade and Keris. And this is all I have to say. Thank you so very much for being our guests today. And as proof to what we just discussed, we're going to spend the rest of the hour together meditating and taking advantage of the fact that we have two amazing teachers, not only as part of our team and community, but in the room with us today. So I'm going to give the mic and the stage to you for chair yoga and then a final meditation. And once again, thank you so very much for all you bring and all you do for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. Keris, I will lead us through the seated yoga. If you can adjust your camera so they can see you, and I'll keep it short and sweet so we can have time for the meditation practice. So everyone just get nice and comfortable in your seat. Liz, if you could please just make sure Keris is highlighted. Yes, you can see her in her chair. So sit up in your seat. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Good. And let's just do a little yoga for the eyes to first. I want everyone to take their eyes up, look down, look up, look down, keeping the head still, moving the eyes up and down. Look to the right, look to the left, right, left. Continue on your own, keeping the head still, looking to the right and to the left. Moving the energy, stretching the eyes. This is where we see. Beautiful. Still the eyes, look up, to the right, look down, to the left, up, right, down, left. Counterclockwise, look to the left, look down, to the right, up, left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up. Look straight ahead. Close the eye. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out loud. Beautiful. You can open the eyes. You can see Keris. If you need to, inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Press your palms together. Beautiful. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands down to the earth. Hands go straight down to the earth. Bring your hands between your legs. Your feet are about shoulder width apart. Press your right palm into the earth. Reach your left hand up. Stretch out. Keep stretching up, looking up. Beautiful. Make sure you're pressing your palm into the earth. On your exhale, bring your hand down to the earth and take the opposite hand up, reaching up, stretching up, breathing here. Beautiful. Take one more deep breath. Bring both hands down to the earth. Good. Grab onto opposite elbow and rise up, holding onto your elbows. Bring in the forearms all the way up and overhead. Good. If you can stand up here. If you can, there's no need to. And then reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Fold and forward, bring your hands to the ground. If you're standing, bend your knees a little bit. If in your seat, that's fine. And just grab onto opposite elbows here and sway a little side to side. Crown of the head down, tuck your chin in towards your chest, look towards your navel. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, fold deeper. Allow the hands to dangle, release the elbows, and slowly roll back up in your seat or to stand wherever you are. Once you're all the way up, give a nice big shoulder roll. Beautiful. And allow palms to rest face up on your thighs. And Keris will lead us through some breathing.
If your eyes are closed right now, just go ahead and open your eyes. I want you to just peek up at me for a moment. I'm going to explain this quick breathing exercise here, and then we'll do a round together. So you're going to take your first fingers and you're going to plug off the little flappy parts of your ears, but don't do it yet, because you're going to listen to me first. And what you'll do is you'll close your eyes, you'll relax your face, you'll relax your jaw, and you'll take a nice deep inhale. Your teeth will be lightly touching, and you'll begin to hum like a bee. As you are humming like a bee, just bring your attention to your mind and imagine a busy bee. So this is a really calming technique that you can do. All right, so let's try a round together. Now you won't hear me when we're doing this, but you'll hear Liz play the gong 3 times. When you hear the gong, just release your hands down and just pause in stillness and silence. All right, everyone. So sit nice and tall. take your first 2 fingers, plug the flappy parts of your ears, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to hum like a bee. And every time you need a breath, just inhale and exhale like a bee and just continue. Slowly release your hands. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Allowing your entire body to settle into stillness. Taking this stillness, this peace, and this quiet with you into your day. Slowly begin to open your eyes, making any little movements, any little adjustments, bringing a smile to your face. Thank you all for taking time to breathe.
Keris and Jade, thank you so very much for a powerful closing to Remote Daily today. And while Emmanuel and Dario are chiming in for the final song, and I hope you all can hum along, just keep humming, keep breathing. I want to thank you both so very much and ask you to give us a goodbye, a final remark, a personal mantra, whatever it is, while we hear the final song. Beginning, Keris and Jade, what would you like to leave us with today?
Leave you with one of my favorite mantras. I trust the process of life.
And I'll just share my current mantra. I am a spiritual being, having a human experience. I feed my soul. I move with peace, grace, and strength.
Thank you. Remote Daily Season 4. We just got started, everyone. And what a powerful session this was. Virtual glitter for our amazing guests. I see you all next Friday at 1 p.m. with Olivia Gamblin, who is actually an ethicist for artificial intelligence, and will talk to us about the soul, the strengths, and all the things that machines can do and how we can be courageous when dealing with them. Next week on Remote Daily. Now enjoy Elena and Dario, and thank you all, from Rick on the West Coast to the middle of the country in Pennsylvania, to Toronto, to Germany, to New York City, for being here today. Wish you all a wonderful weekend.